Baltimore's a scary place. Homicide there is 9 times higher than the US as a whole annually. So you might be wondering, what's me, Ken Buck of Anne Arundel, Maryland, doing in such a disgusting, crime-ridden town? Today, I look at the case of Syed versus Maryland to defend my client, Adnan.
Ken Buck, closing argument, please.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Judge, I was looking at my evidence. Oh, wrong time. Oh my god. Yes, I am ready to give my closing argument.
Yes, sir. Proceed.
Members of the jury, judge, family of the victim, family of the accused, and concerned citizens. Today, we look at the case of Syed versus Maryland. My client, Mr. Syed, has been accused of a crime he did not do. Today, I will prove to you Mr. Syed's innocence.
Mr. Buck, I'd like to see some evidence.
Evidence, sir. Judge, the evidence brought by the state is completely disgusting. Claims such as pings from cell towers, determined location of outgoing calls, completely not even brought up by the state in the original 1999 trial. Mr. Wilds, might I say, also a joke of a witness. The state provided him a lawyer when he didn't deserve such so. Mr. Wilds should be the true criminal in this case. Mr. Wilds was a co-conspirator in this case, as he portrays himself. Mr. Syed, look at this man. Does he look like the man?
I wouldn't do it. Like,
Mr.
you know
Syed,
me, I wouldn't do it.
Mr.
Like,
Syed,
I wouldn't do
Mr.
that.
Syed, I got it.
Before we continue, is there anything else you'd like to say, sir?
Yes, Judge, there is. The state tried using DNA evidence against my client, saying that the fingerprints and objects found in Ms. Lee's car are evidence to Mr. Syed being guilty in this case.
They were mine. They were mine.
Mr. Syed, I got this. Let me just say, we found the fingerprints of multiple other assailants that used Ms. Lee's car. Her ex-boyfriend, Adnan, her boyfriend at the time, and multiple schoolmates and friends and family. Are they guilty of this crime? I don't think anyone here suspects that.
Yeah, but Mr. Syed also lied. Hey, my chips.
Order in the court!
I'm sorry about that, Judge. Just the anger going through my body when I hear such ridiculous remarks. Let me just ask the jury real quick a question. What were you doing exactly 1 month ago from today? Do you remember the specifics of your morning? What'd you eat for breakfast?
I know I didn't. I didn't.
Mr. Syed, please.
You just have to be that.
Shh, take a chill pill. You didn't do it. What were you eating for breakfast? Were you at work? Most of Mr. Syed's lying wasn't lying. It was just his memory getting the best of him, fogging up. I instead bring to the issues of Mr. Wilds' mistruths. They've spread across this courtroom, and he's pulled the wool over the eyes of law enforcement in the past. The argument of Mr. Wilds having memory issues is completely ridiculous due to the gravitational role in this case, and the state using him as a star witness.
All fingers are on.
Uh-oh.
Well, he's gone. He was outside, taking his clothes off, but we don't need to talk about that. He'll be back, and All I'm trying to say is Mr. Syed is innocent. Let's get back to it. Don't want any problems. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. The state has used phone record evidence against Mr. Syed, claiming that the calls given to Mr. Syed that he received on his phone are evidence to his location at the time, matching Mr. Wilde's timeline. Now, Mr. Wilde's timeline is completely incorrect. We look back now into the future, 2021, bringing this case back up. 1999, when supposedly this murder happened, there was a phone booth outside of the Best Buy where Mr. Syed apparently said the famous words, "I killed that." We now know that that phone booth wasn't even there 22 years ago. The famous call between Mr. Syed and Mr. Wildes happened at said phone booth, as Mr. Wildes has stated. We also know now that cell tower pings don't depend on location of outgoing calls, as confirmed by the cellular company phones were provided by. Abraham Wertzenwitz of the original prosecution says that if this evidence was present at the time of the original 1999 trial, the whole case would have been changed.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the.
Oh my gosh, sorry, Judge. I get very. Anyway, back to it. We previously talked about the cell phone history and how pings don't depend on one's location of outgoing calls. Mr. Wildes lied. As I stated earlier, he is a criminal. Maybe not of this specific crime or something of the like, but a possible perjury charge to be put on the fence. The state also says there's DNA evidence to prove Mr. Syed did this crime. There is no DNA evidence. All evidence and materialistic items found at the scene were discarded. There was never proper DNA testing ever done. So for the state to use this evidence against my client is laughable. As I said earlier, how are we not to know that the actual criminal was in that car also? Family member, a friend, her boyfriend at the time, classmates. But they chose Adnan's fingerprints and said, because of his fingerprints being in this vehicle, he is the criminal. That shows some bias on part of the state. I will say so. Judge, 15-minute recess? Make it 20. Yo, what's up, vlog? So, taking a 15-minute recess right now. Lawyer dude, 23 here. I'm bombing right now. I'm doing terrible. I don't know. I hope that guy defended some dude named Syed. They gave me the case last Thursday, and I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, vlog, I'll see you next time. Make sure to like, subscribe, smash that like button. Let's try to get 5,000 likes on this one. Peace.
Prosecutors already here. So I'm in this really good case right here. Dude, this defense attorney, dude, he's right.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, bro? Good job in there.
See you later.
Respect. Woo-wee, man. Relaxed, refreshed. Let's get back into it. We left off with me stating why my client, Mr. Adnan Syed, is not guilty. Today I'd like to wrap this up. Let's go through what the state said about Mr. Syed. They said that the DNA evidence found in Miss Lee's car proved he was the murderer. They also said the cell tower pings supposedly match up with location of Mr. Syed in his car, sir. That also has been proven to be inaccurate due to the evidence the cell phone company has provided us. What else have they said? They said Mr. Syed is a liar. When their star witness, Jay Wild, former drug dealer, didn't really do good in school. Not a good man by heart. Lied and lied again. So, I guess an even bigger question the jury and myself have to ask. What does the state have against Mr. Syed? 22 years ago, the nation was a different place. Perhaps discrimination played a role in Mr. Syed's guilty verdict. I'm not going to make assumptions, but all I'm saying, it is very, very strange. Maybe they were just trying to wrap it up. Better things at the time. Or maybe they just truly are corrupt to the bone. The charge of corruption is a very, very serious one. Right here I have a paper. A piece of evidence that went unused in the original trial. It was from a lady who went to school with Adnan at the time, known as Asia McLean. She wrote to Adnan while he was in the Maryland Correctional Facility, and she remembered chatting with him. That day, Hay died, January 13th, 1999. Asia remembers it being a 20-minute or so conversation, and it was after school. School comes out 2:15. That's around the timeline Mr. Syed apparently murdered Miss Lee. The state says in between those 20 minutes, Miss Lee was murdered. So let me ask you a bigger question. How can Adnan be at two places at once? A library, chatting with a peer, committing cold-blooded murder in another. It doesn't make sense. The jury knows it, I know it, we all know it. The state was misguided with their verdict 22 years ago. The state was corrupt 22 years ago. Me and the jury will not let this injustice go unnoticed. I recommend to the jury to not let Big Brother bring you down. When you make your decision, I want you to think with your head and your heart at the same time. I will say it once, as I said at the beginning of this case. Adnan Syed is not guilty. I leave you with that. Made my case. The jury will make its decision. Excuse me. The jury will make its decision, and the rest is history. Thank you. Man, whew, I stink.
Well, there you have it. Later that month, Adnan was found not guilty unanimously by the jury. And I, just 3 years later, went on to be elected president of the United States. Jay was later arrested on a perjury charge. And the world was back to normal.
His ear look like